We always love when our friend Paul Vallas joins the conversation. How you doing, my friend?
Good morning. How are you?
Good morning, Paul. We're happy to talk to you. You're writing for the Illinois Policy Institute now. Have a great piece that you penned about Mayor Johnson hitting the 1 year mark, showing voters, as you put it, Paul, he is exactly who we said he was.
Exactly. Well, look, on public safety, he's been a consistent advocate for defunding the cops. Well, he's doing exactly that. At least if you look at the number of police officers, he's eliminated 833 positions. That will ensure that the police ranks remain about 1,700 lower than when Mayor Lightfoot took office. And let me point out that it's having a direct impact on public safety. If you look at the 911 responses, the 911 calls, the high-priority 911 calls, last year over half those calls when they came in, these are high-priority calls. These are serious calls coming in. Over half of those calls did not have a police car available to respond. So at the end of the day, if you look at education, he's eliminating even public school choice. They want to eliminate the charters. They want to eliminate the magnet schools. It's bad enough that poor families are denied now the opportunity to participate in the state-supported scholarship program that the teachers union led the charge on not extending. But now even public school choice is being eliminated, and it's going to have a direct impact on Black and Latino children who comprise 98% of all the children who attend charter schools. When it comes to business, he's imposing mandate after mandate on businesses, unfunded, irregardless of their ability to pay. And clearly, he's been a strong supporter of Sanctuary City. If you look at between the state and the city combined, they have allocated close to $1.8 billion, $400 million from the city to support migrants, in contrast to the very little in new investments that they have made in poor communities. So he's turning out to be exactly who he said he was going to be. And unfortunately, while the impact is this is going to have a negative impact on the city as a whole, when it comes to the denial of school choice, when it comes to the denial of the police officers, the officers needed in order to effectively enforce crime, when it comes to the massive investment in supporting the unlimited influx of migrants who are being welcomed to Chicago at the expense of the community, it is really the Black and Latino communities that are going to be adversely impacted the most.
Paul, to that end, today is the day that ShotSpotter comes up in City Council, and Mayor Johnson has certainly made it clear that he wants to get rid of ShotSpotter. However, a lot of the aldermen today are preparing to take some control, and they say that ShotSpotter is actually keeping some of these communities that you just mentioned safe. However, the mayor seems to be turning a blind eye to this.
Well, first of all, getting rid of ShotSpotter is completely irresponsible. I mean, if they want to find a better version of ShotSpotter, great, open up the bidding process. But at the end of the day, ShotSpotter does save lives. The police department has documented how ShotSpotter saves lives by significantly reducing two ways, by significantly reducing the response time. Because right now, without a lot of police cars available, without enough police cars available to respond to half the high-priority 911 calls, ShotSpotter is a vehicle for really identifying where the most serious calls are coming. Obviously, somebody is firing a shot. I think the police have identified well over 100 lives that have been saved, and they're saved in part for two reasons. The first reason is you have a quicker police response. The police obviously can call in the paramedics. You can reach those who have been shot much earlier. And then, of course, the mere police presence quickly after the shots are fired sometimes has the impact of preventing further violence. Let me point out that Chicago leads the nation in mass shootings. And if Chicago were a state, we would be second only to California in the number of mass shootings. So ShotSpotter gives the police the capacity to respond very quickly, and I think getting rid of it is just part of this anti-police bent, anti-public safety.
When you have the police superintendent, Larry Snelling, when you have the former police superintendent, Eddie Johnson, having saved ShotSpotter campaign. You have aldermen, as we've been all alluding to, especially David Moore put it best, I think, from 17. What price is somebody's life worth? And I would even argue, Paul, that the 1% of the time, or the 2% or the 3%, the very small percentage of time that ShotSpotter is inaccurate, I want the police presence there. So if it's hearing, garbage cans clanging, which it's, proven not to have heard as often as it does when there's actual shots fired or a crime, and they send a response, I want those units in my neighborhood. I mean, I've been a city resident my whole life.
Well, there seems to be this attack on using technology for more effective policing. There's almost like a war on technology. But look, it's consistent with this kind of defunding the police, restraining the police. Now, of course, Fox says that she's not going to prosecute police officers who try to find a reason to stop a suspicious vehicle, which incidentally is one of the primary ways that they get dangerous guns off the street. I mean, the police department comes out with a report every month where they recognize, like the stop of the month, where a stop has saved a life, or a stop has undercovered like a cache of guns, etc. Timothy McVeigh was stopped. It was a suspicious car. Right. They weren't looking for him in particular, but they stopped him because he had a registration problem, and sure enough, it was Timothy McVeigh, the Oklahoma bomber.
Right.
And that's how they ridiculous.
I said that to Scott earlier, Paul, off the air. I said, I don't understand just the mentality of that. I don't think people are thinking forward. I think there's a lot of backwards thinking, but forward in the sense that you're taking guns off the street, which could prevent mass shootings, school shootings, little children being shot on playgrounds. That could happen. We've seen it happen. So you're taking these guns off the street. I don't see why that's a bad thing.
Being proactive has always been a good thing. And how many times have we looked in hindsight and said, if only this, if only
exactly.
that. And then we have a situation where somebody gets pulled over and for, let's say, something as simple as a seatbelt violation, and yet maybe there is a firearm in the vehicle and they can't do anything? That doesn't make any sense.
No. Well, I did a piece for John Cass called The Criminal Industrial Complex, where I really talked about a whole cottage industry has emerged that has basically effectively declared war on public safety, and you see it. You see it on not only the lawyers who sued the city for any reason, and obviously mostly target the police, even though about 1/3 of the lawsuits are not because of any accusations made about the police. But you see it in the money that the city pays to hire law firms to settle cases. The last 10 years, I think there's been like $700 million paid out in legal and in settlements on lawsuits and filed against the city, and over $100 million of that has gone to law firms that the city hires to in effect settle the cases, not the law firms that are suing the city. And of course, in the last election, Harris, Tony Freckle's candidate, her replacement for Kim Fox, who of course lost, his biggest contributors were those very law firms. So but then you have the universities that get money to do these reports that are designed to vindicate the pretrial release program, and then of course you have the advocates who attacking the police and effectively disarming the police has become their life's mission. So so you have this criminal industrial complex that has emerged, and there are clear financial benefits to these groups that are advocating. So it's become ideological, unfortunately.
All at a time when could be arguably the busiest summer of the year here in Chicago. We're talking to Paul Vallas, a former mayoral candidate and former schools chief. Paul, can you hang on the line? We want to talk to you about education and migrants, too, when we come back. We continue our conversation with former schools chief Paul Vallas, former mayoral candidate and our friend who writes for the Illinois Policy Institute now. Someone texting in, Paul, you'll like this. Also, this is a proponent, this is a police officer, proponent of ShotSpotter, says, remember, folks, police carry basic first aid kits with them, including quick clot and tourniquets and chest seals. So police officers are saving lives when they get there, too, when they're alerted. to ShotSpotter.
That's right, absolutely. And again, so many lives are saved when the police are there on the spot, and minutes can be the difference between life and death.
We'll talk a little bit about education, too, in your new piece that you just wrote for Illinois Policy Institute. You can see it at illinoispolicy.org, kind of reviewing Mayor Johnson's 1 year so far in office. Talking a little bit about education and how Mayor Johnson really kind of staked out his vision for K through 12 education long before he ran for mayor, saying that he was against the structure of education. Let's talk a little bit about that.
Well, this is all about strengthening the union monopoly over public education in Chicago. Let's face it, nationally, unions weren't the National Teacher Union's responses to COVID were an absolute disaster. In fact, if you look at the rise in crime rates in Chicago, they can be specifically linked to the closing of schools for 77 consecutive weeks. It resulted, incidentally, in a significant reduction in school enrollment. I think well over 30,000, 11% reduction since 2019, which is one of the reasons that Stacey Davis Gates and Johnson are so eager to have an influx of migrants to restore the ranks. So, clearly, this attempt to strengthen the monopoly of the teachers union has included effectively eliminating public school choice. They want to get rid of the select enrollment magnet schools. The majority of children who go to those schools are minority, and of course they want to get rid of the charter schools. They in the last contract they capped the number of charter schools in their enrollment, and now they're demanding in the new contract that the charter schools actually effectively be eliminated. And they serve 54,000 kids. 98% of them are Black and Latino. So the union wants to maintain that stranglehold, that monopoly, and they want to eliminate even public school choice that does not involve their members.
Paul, you were in charge of Chicago Public Schools for many years here. Why is this method not working, won't work, and what would you do differently?
Well, what I would do differently is, look, I believe that children should be able to attend any school that they want to attend as long as it's a certified school, whether it's a public school, a public charter school. Charter schools are, incidentally, not-for-profit public schools, or for that matter, parochial or private schools. It's so ironic, Andrea, that at the university level, the Federal College Loan Program provides scholarships to young people who go to parochial and private schools. 54% of the students who attend private universities actually have student debt, have federal student loans. But yet, at the K-12 level, there's an aggressive effort to completely deny young people the opportunity to have the financial assistance to go to private schools and parochial schools. And now, at least in Illinois, there's an effort to get rid of charters. Look, the union has a monopoly. Because the union has a monopoly, what do they get out of it? They can literally dictate the terms of their collective bargaining agreement. And in the last contract and the new contract that they're demanding, what do they want? They want more members. They want more pay. They're asking for a 9% salary increase a year over the next 5 years, incidentally. They want less time in the classroom, more professional development time. They want less accountability, and they want less choice. So what we have here is we have a system that continues to produce abysmal results, and families who do not have the financial means to send their kids to private or parochial schools are stuck in these failed systems. And the overwhelming vast majority of the children who are being victimized are Black and Latino. So this is just a disaster. But the mayor pretty much telegraphed his intentions, and he's effectively doing exactly what he said he was going to do.
Absolutely. We're talking with Paul Vallas this morning. Paul, in your article in Illinois Policy, you talk about the migrant services and that last month, Mayor Johnson diverted almost $100 million of the unspent COVID-19 funds to provide housing for the migrants. However, no approval or consultation with the alderman. And it kind of dovetails in what we were talking about earlier as far as this ShotSpotter is concerned, where the mayor seems to just be, I don't even know if that's the right term, but going rogue, where he doesn't even consult with his own alderman.
Well, look, his aldermanic. Well, first of all, you're absolutely right. Not only is there no consultation, but there's really no transparency. He makes decisions unilaterally, and as you well know, I mean, this has really been the pattern of the mayor since Old Man Daly. I mean, it's always been an imperial mayor, so to speak, and the city council has always been very, very docile. And part of the problem is the city council leadership. I mean, the city council leadership could checkmate the mayor at every turn, but they've just refused to do so. And the present leadership opposed efforts by a number of aldermen simply to increase their staffing resources in the legislative budget office so that they could provide a more effective independent analysis of the mayor's budgets and of the mayor's programs. So clearly the leadership wants to maintain this imperial mayor, and they want to advance their agenda, and they want very little debate in the city council that can in any way, checkmate their goals.
It's a great article. You can read it on IllinoisPolicy.org, and we have to congratulate you, Paul. In addition to everything that you're doing and working for Illinois Policy Institute, you've been named the CEO of the Joe Ellen and John McKenzie Foundation, which is very cool. This bridges the gap between the classroom and then moving on to your career. It's a nice role for you.
Nice.
Yeah, our objective is really to help schools modify their models so that they can incorporate financial literacy, civics, character education, and most importantly, work study into the high school experience. The whole idea is to connect young people to the work world before they've left high school, and to provide not only high school students with, obviously an opportunity to go to college, but also an opportunity to perhaps go straight into a profession, because not everybody wants to go to college, and some people want to delay, perhaps like I did, their decision to go to college and work on the interim. So the objective here is really to connect the high school students directly to the work world, and I think that's missing in public education across the country.
Absolutely right. Students saying, how do I write a resume? How am I going to, job interviewing skills?
Right.
These are much needed.
Basic, very basic.
Absolutely. Paul, congratulations on the new role, and we'll talk to you very soon.
Thanks for having me.
Always. That's Paul Vallas. Again, you can read that article that he just penned on IllinoisPolicy.org.